Should you invest in real estate crowdfunding or real estate P2P, peer-to-peer? To answer that question, you probably want to know what real estate crowdfunding is in the first place. So let's clarify this in this episode of the GermanReal.Estate Wiki. Real estate crowdfunding, crowd lending, peer-to-peer, crowd investing, crowd financing, mostly all the same. I'll just call it crowdfunding to keep things easier for you. There may be a property out there that you'd like to buy. Let's say it costs 100,000 euros, but you don't have 100,000 euros laying around. So what do? Traditionally, you go to a bank and apply for a mortgage. That's not as easy as it sounds though, at least here in Germany. It requires a lot of documents, a decent financial situation, maybe a property appraisal from the bank, and so on. You send everything to the bank, maybe they accept and you get your mortgage. Good for you. But maybe the bank declines your mortgage application. And that doesn't necessarily mean that something is wrong with you. Maybe the bank doesn't like the property type you want to buy. Maybe your mortgage doesn't suit their mortgage strategy. Lots of reasons why a bank could reject you. What do you do now? Well, maybe if you find a property interesting, other investors might find the property interesting as well. So rather than raising money from one source like a bank, these bastards rejected you anyway, how about you pool money from hundreds or thousands of investors and buy the property together? Just like with REITs that we explained a while ago, or our real estate security tokens. Here you just get money from the crowd, that's why the name is crowdfunding. Get it? What do you get as being part of the crowd? It depends on the type of crowdfunding. There's basically 4 different types. Since you don't get a mortgage from a bank, you can simply use the crowd as bank and give them a certain interest rate as compensation for their investment. If you finance with the crowd only, you probably want to give the investors primary rank, which means that if it hits the fan and things don't work out with your property, the crowd would get the money first, and then you get the money afterwards, if there's something left. If a bank is involved, so if you buy your property with a mix of crowdfunding and bank mortgage, the bank will always require to get the primary rank. So in that case, the crowd can get a secondary rank, which they probably want a higher interest rate for, right? The risk of the crowd is higher, so they want a higher return. It is important to note that in both those cases, the crowd does not own the property. They only have a loan against the owner of the property. If the crowd wants a piece of the property, we are talking about equity crowdfunding instead of loan crowdfunding. Here, investors probably don't get an interest rate because it's not a loan. Investors get a share of the rental income and a piece of the resale value if the property gets sold. Probably both actually. And lastly is mezzanine crowdfunding, which is basically a combination of any of the prior types. Our real estate security tokens are not crowdfunding, our tokens are real financial securities, but if you want to do a comparison, our first real estate security token for Welcome Home in Mönchengladbach would be mezzanine. The token offers investors a fixed interest rate as well as a share of the resale value of the property. But again, we are not doing crowdfunding. We issue real financial securities in the form of security tokens. If you would like to check them out, our website is linked in the description. What are the benefits of real estate crowdfunding? It certainly starts at a lower minimum investment than buying a real property yourself. On some platforms, the minimum investment is 1,000 euro, on some 500 euros. For us, it usually starts at 100 euro minimum investment. Whatever amount it is certainly much easier to diversify your portfolio with small sums of money than having to invest tens of thousands of euros in a property yourself. It's not just easier, it's also a hell of a lot easier to register for crowdfunding and transfer money than going through the traditional property purchase here in Germany. You don't have to deal with a bank, worry about your mortgage, go to the notary, deal with annoying tenants. You just invest and chill. Where there's light, there's shadow. And the big shadow I see, especially for many new investors, is the severe lack of transparency on some of the real estate crowdfunding platforms. You don't really get to know a lot about the properties that are being funded or the people behind that, their experience, if they have a successful track record or not. And that is why we are publishing these videos here and the articles on our website GermanReal.Estate, so you can inform yourself before making your investment decision. Aside from the transparency issue, real estate crowdfunding is pretty new. It's a new technology that changed the way to do business or to invest in real estate. That's why it's not really tested yet. According to the statistics, 1.25 billion euro have been invested in real estate crowdfunding in Germany so far. Roughly 6% of that is still running. 40% has been paid back already, and only 0.7% is in the air and unclear. The numbers are from November, just last month. Let's see how things develop with the increased interest rate and the recession that everyone keeps talking about. Now you know what real estate crowdfunding is. Should you invest in it? Why are you looking at me? The idea to split properties in smaller pieces that you guys can invest in is great. That's what we're doing this too. The devil's in the details though. So before you invest in anything, real estate crowdfunding or something else, do your homework and educate yourself what you are actually investing in. Once you have done your due diligence, you will feel for yourself if that's what you want to do or not. Our GermanReal.Estate marketplace is linked in the description in case you're looking for properties to inform yourself about and potentially also invest in.